Hey everyone, version 4.7 adds 3 new features we've been asked repeatedly: anchors for linking to specific versions in your documents, page breaks for controlling print layout, and export to Word without losing formatting. I will walk through each one using this annual marketing report as an example, but this is just dummy content to demonstrate the features. So here's what we are working with. This is a multi-chapter marketing report with tables, codes, standard formatting, and the left sidebar lets you toggle the new plugins on or off, and the configuration panel shows the live JavaScript config, and I added a little event log at the bottom that will show every event that will fire as we use them. So let's start with anchors. So this report has a table of contents listing 6 chapters, but right now these are all just text. If I want to jump to chapter 4, I have to scroll down. This is what anchor solves. So let's enable it here. As you can see, the generated config object, I have plugins enabled and the plugin name is linked to anchor, and the toolbar button is called insert anchor, which will be this new toolbar button. So let's say I'm going to highlight executive summary and click on insert anchor, and let's name this, for example, executive summary. We cannot add space in the anchor name summary, so I'll just use an underscore and click on insert, and you will see that executive summary is now linked to this type of text. And you can also see in the event log here that anchor before insert event has been called or fired, and the anchor name is executive summary. So this fires before the anchor gets created, so you can validate the name or prevent duplicates, and now the anchor exists at this location. So now let's link this anchor from the table of contents. Let's highlight this and click on insert link. As you can see, there's now a new drop down, and you can see executive summary here, the one that we created earlier. Let's say click on insert, and you can now scroll to target, style, edit link, unlink, but basically you can now go to scroll to target and it will automatically scroll. Well, this doesn't really scroll that much, so let's try chapter 6. Let's scroll down to chapter 6. Do the same thing again. Insert, and then let's scroll up and then link chapter 6 using the insert link. And as you can see, the drop down now has 2 URLs. You can now click chapter 6, click on insert, and again, if you scroll to target, it's going to scroll where the inserted anchor would be. So now we have a document that navigates like a web page. So these anchors work in the editor, and as you might notice later with export to Word, they'll also work as intended. So your table of contents will keep on working even if you export it into a Word file. So this cuts way down on reading time for long technical docs, legal contracts, or anything where people need to jump between sections. So again, scroll to target, and chapter 6. We'll go to chapter 6. So next feature would be page breaks. So if you're exporting to print or PDF, page breaks gives you control over where pages split. Without them, you'll get awkward breaks mid-paragraph. So let's enable it here. And as you can see also in the config, the plugin name is page break, and the toolbar button is called page break, camel case. And there will be a new button here called page break. So let's test it now. For example, I'm going to take a page break from before chapter 1 and click on page break. And after chapter 1, before chapter 2, I'm going to replace this end of section part with a page break. You might not see it properly here, but this will all make sense once you have exported it to Word. But this is what it basically does. It gives you control where pages are split. The third feature is export to Word. So a lot of teams need Word files for review cycles, compliance, or working offline. And export to Word preserves your formatting when moving from the editor to a docx file. So let's enable it here. Same thing as the previous two. I have a plugins enabled and its name export to Word. And the button name is export to Word. You can see the new button here that would export anything that is inside the Froala editor into a docx file. So it's basically clicking this and you will see it's going to download a docx file. But since Froala is customizable, we can call on after export, one of the new events that comes with the 4.7 update. I'm going to enable this. So what's going to happen is whenever something is downloaded, in this case, the export to Word, and when this is fired, this will call on a custom notification that you have downloaded the file. You can do this with anything that you would want to, because all of these events are available inside the plugins. So for example, you have after export, you can handle logic depending on your use case. Now let's open the exported docx file and verify that everything is formatted properly. Let's start first with the anchor tags. So for example, in this case, the executive summary and the chapter 6, which we linked earlier in our video. If I control click, it's going to scroll down to the executive summary along with chapter 6. It's also going to scroll down to chapter 6, which we have anchored and linked before. Now let's move towards the page break. As you remember, we have added page break before chapter 1 and before chapter 2. And as you can see here, it's a separate page for itself, just a chapter 1 along with the page breaks. And as you would expect when you are exporting to a PDF or a docx file, the formatting should be intact. In this case, we had the quote text in the Froala editor before, and you can see it here. It's formatted and it's intact. Same with the tables. So everything from the editor made it to the Word without manual reformatting. And if you're collaborating with people who work in Microsoft Word, this saves a lot of back and forth. So that's 4.70. Anchors give you navigation, page breaks control layout, and Word export preserves formatting and exports it to a docx file. So also the event system, the 5 new ones, gives you control over how these features behave in your application. Same with the other releases before, like the find and replace plugins. So as usual, check the integration guide and code examples at froala.com, and you can try the new 4.7 release today. Thank you for watching and see you.